So here's the thing. Lately, I've been noticing a weird pattern in digital content. It sounds right, but it doesn't feel right. You read something or watch a video, and technically it's okay, maybe even perfectly produced, but something's off. Can't quite put your finger on it, but something just doesn't seem right. Like a smile that doesn't quite look correct on the face. And once you notice it, you can't unsee it. That feeling, that is the uncanny valley of AI assisted content. We used to talk about it when we're talking about robots that looked almost human but gave us the creeps, like in the Terminator. Gosh, I love those movies. Anyway, we even created genres of horror films covering this. Now it's seeped into the words, videos, and visuals all over the internet. All over everything, actually. The surface looks polished, perfect in every way. But underneath, there's no soul, no mess, no spark. Just a weird sense of the void. And even though it's more commonplace these days, it's still so obscure that it gets used for bait and switch tactics everywhere we go. And the perfect example of this, and the reason for the previous two videos and today's video and tomorrow's video, the reason for this little series is the Willy Wonka experience in Glasgow. And I want to shout out to one of my favorite creators, Marky, who did an amazing video on this a while back. His content is wild stories and basically, yeah, basically gossip without having to follow everything. Anyway, and he does stories like this often, but this one really hit. And I know that there are so many others that use the exact same tactic, but for the sake of time, I'm just using this one. Okay, so go back to early 2024, and an event pops up online promising a full-on candy-coated fantasy immersion experience. And there were tons and tons of AI-generated posters, descriptions that made it look like Disneyland and Wonka had a baby. It was just amazing and almost unbelievable. Almost. And I can I can understand why everyone was fawning over it. It's like it's like appeasing your inner child just looking at all that candy. And it really did look like a kid's paradise. I mean, seriously. And I was super impressed. I was actually inspired and was thinking that if I had the money, I would take my boyfriend. And as the days got closer, anticipation built. And I was looking forward to seeing the different videos and posts I knew would pop up afterwards. I was looking forward to the immersion experience through their eyes. And I wasn't the only one that was super excited. Unlike me, who was stuck at home, parents bought tickets in the area, little kids dressed up in their favorite characters. Expectations for the event were sky high. One might even say to space. That was how high it was. The reality, the reality was a barely decorated, mostly vacant warehouse. Had a few chairs, some random props here and there, maybe a maze, and a single Oompa Loompa who looked more confused than the children. I think even the cobwebs themselves were working harder than the staff at keeping things together. It looked like a dream. It read like a dream, but it felt like a scam. And people were massively upset, and rightfully so. It wasn't just because the event sucked. It was because they were sold something that was clearly put together by tools, by AI, not by people. At least, not honest people, we'll just say. That disconnect, though, that is what's showing up all over the internet now. But this isn't just about the one event. It's crawled into every corner of the internet. You've probably felt it too, reading or watching something online and thinking, this is great. But why does it feel so fake, so flat? It's because more and more as time progresses, audiences are developing a kind of AI radar. And it's not about spotting the obvious mistakes. It's about sensing when something was made without heart. We're getting used to that polished but hollow vibe, like in the picture that's next to me. And when the information is technically solid, it leaves us cold. The thing is AI can polish your vision, but if you don't show up with your own voice and care, just like the Glasgow incident, your audience will know and they'll leave. One of the biggest problems that I came across in my research was a little something called homogenization. Look it up, it's actually kind of interesting. But the gist of it is it's a trend where digital content becomes increasingly similar across different platforms and brands. It's easy to lose that spark that makes your voice yours. And it's because everyone is using the same tools, following the same practices, and that is why that content starts blending together. And yes, people do use AI to try to set themselves apart, but I don't think they're doing it the right way. And I can't really explain it because it's hard to explain anyway, and also not what I'm going to get into right now. But anyway, so it's basically the definition of the same old that we've heard. And it's like how you notice that every third LinkedIn post feels like deja vu, or how certain intros seem to follow the same structure, like they were written by a formula. Or, better yet, how about that MLM content out there where it seems everybody has the exact same thing to say about the exact same product? That I can go into a whole new tangent on, but I'm not going to because, that's not the goal of this video. Anyway, let's just say Hannah Alonso does it perfectly. I love her. I follow her, and mwah, chef's kiss to her. Anyway, so I did do AI type of content with a few of my older videos on my channel, which of course no surprise to anybody, they got like 0 views. I think the highest amount of views I got on one of them was like 5 max. And I mean, besides my obligatory one, because I watched them to make sure that everything was situated because I was transitioning from one computer to another. Anyway, upgrading content's wonderful, guys, side note. But I can tell now that I have gone past that what is AI and what is genuine. And a lot of times it is a bunch of trial and error. And in doing research on this, it kind of got me curious about going back and redoing, not exactly word for word, but just redoing my videos, just kind of like taking bits and pieces of it that were AI written, because I still have those notes, and learning and taking a better gander at it and learning from the experience. Because I'm going to be honest with you guys, so many of those videos could have done better, but AI got in the way. And I just was posting it as is because all I cared about was I need to post consistently. And I'm not too happy about them now, but that's the beauty of being a content creator, is that you get to have that chance of upgrading your content as well as your equipment. Right? Anyway, so that sameness is kind of what's making me start to push back. As I mentioned earlier, because now when I write, I intentionally go where AI doesn't. I'll throw in clunky phrases, weird metaphors, start paragraphs with but or so. Anyway, so back to my point. That sameness is what's making me start pushing back. Because when I write, oh, sorry, I already said that. Human, hey. Anyway, so sometimes I'll write a long, chaotic sentence that rambles around and never gets to a point. Just because that's actually how I talk, how I say things aloud. And then I'll follow it with something cute and quippy, unexpected as well. And that's it. As part of my editing process now, I read aloud what AI wrote. Because a lot of times what it writes is just so off. It's not me. And now I have a better radar of telling where it's fallen off and where it hasn't. And it also, one thing that's starting to irritate me to no end with AI, is when it revamps my words without warning. And so I have to literally make sure I save my document before I put it into the AI generator. And then I just be like, okay, no, I intentionally meant to say this, not that. And it's such a pet peeve right now. I mean, I love AI, don't get me wrong. It's one amazing tool, but it doesn't feel real. And that's the problem, is that a lot of times people just do that, especially when they're beginning. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm saying that they need to kind of understand where to draw the line, which is what I'm going to be talking about tomorrow. But anyway, so for example, I ran an experiment recently where I allowed it to rewrite one of my blogs. And my original started with, I screwed up last week and it's been eating at me. AI fixed it to, recently I encountered a challenge that prompted significant reflection. Technically better, maybe, but emotionally, deader than a doornail. Seriously. So I went back. I restored the original and I added a lot more detail, like how I messed up, what exactly I meant, and what I learned from that experience. And that vulnerability, people loved it, ate it up, and they commented on it. Super happy when people comment, by the way. It just makes my day. Anyway, and the really cool thing is that they related to it. And it's because AI couldn't reach them. But I could. Because it wasn't in AI's data. And no matter how many people work on AI and make it more human like, it's not ever going to be able to reach that point where it's going to be authentically human. I mean, even if we are heading towards that time, you know, it's just, I think a lot of people don't quite understand that yes, AI can take over the world, but we also need to remember that yes, it may be artificial intelligence, but it's not human intelligence, and it's human intelligence is different, and in that it's more authentic and more relatable, and it's more, oh, what's the word? It meets better in the middle, so to speak, between different cultures and between different regions of the world. I've noticed that even with AI, there's like a jarring difference, but the human connection is never going to be gone away with, even if AI does take over the world, which I don't think it will. But anyway, off on the tangent. So I still use AI, but I use it as an editor and not as a writer. And I think of it more as a second set of eyes and not my voice. Because honestly, I think it should put those editors in their places, because editors tend to think, and even nowadays, they tend to think that they can make us pay exorbitant prices for a simple sentence or a paragraph mess up. And the thing is AI can fix that for free. Now, I do agree with the prices if the content or novel was so dense and so far reaching that even AI would throw its hands up in the air and give up. And it's because of that I'm not afraid that we're going to end up in a digital world full of glassy-eyed content. Because we don't need to be more technically correct. We need to be more weird, more flawed, and more human. So I'm curious if you've felt this uncanny valley too, guys. Was there something that looked right but felt wrong? And how have you developed your own radar? Because I'm curious to compare notes. So drop a comment if you've spotted a post or a video, or share a moment where the polish was there but the heart was missing. Or better yet, share something you made that broke the rules and felt more honest because of it. Let's keep it real. Algorithms can assist, robots can assist, but only you can bring the human. And if you're looking for more adventures, inspiration, or behind the scenes musings, head over to my blog or dive into one of my fantasy novels. Everything is linked below. And if you want to keep the conversation going, feel free to message me on X and Facebook. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.